Hey guys, Moses here. Just wanted to let you guys know that for the next month, we'll be running a Logitech giveaway. This is for the G513 keyboard and for the Logitech G502 wireless. Super hard to get. Check out the link in the description down below and get yourself entered right now. Some dude, I've been there, dude, where it's like your relationships or dates or whatever you want to call it, prospects are few and far between. And when something does come up, you get very invested in that. But really, I think the best thing you can do is that if you're really looking to start dating and you're feeling lonely and you don't know what the problem is, take all of that energy as much as you can and put it into bettering yourself in small ways. You know, like when you walk past the empty cereal box on your counter, just, you know, fold that bad boy up, throw it in the recycling can and move on. Just, you know, don't. And it's the same thing with, you know, physical fitness. Like if you're not really working out and you're finding yourself those nights where, you know, you're just kind of scrolling through Tinder, or you're, you know, on online dating, or you're sending messages and you're getting frustrated, all that time, dude, just take that to the gym. Just take it to the gym, and maybe, you know, you'll do enough work and spend enough time that you just don't worry about it as much. You know, so it's just the in-game performance is absolutely garbage today. Like I'm getting that I think I had 80 frames there. Something is busted. But yeah, dude, like I did that. Like I was in the like, you know, the bad, like the desperation relationship cycle where you find someone, you go on a couple of dates, and you get laser focused on that person because it's your first prospect in a while. And then all of a sudden you're kind of like, you know, you hinge a lot on whether or not it's going to work out. Like I was friends, and I wanted to date this girl for the longest time, but she just wasn't interested. And we finally got to the point where we were really good friends. So we had a lot in common, but I could not shake that feeling. So I said to her, I was like, hey, listen, like, this is how I feel. Like, I'm not expecting you to react in any way, but I don't think I can keep, you know, doing this friendship thing, because eventually I'm going to make it weird. So, you know, either we can try it if you want, you know, if you have any hesitation whatsoever, of course we won't. And if not, then maybe we're going to have to back this off a little bit. And she was like, well, you know, we can give it a shot. And we gave it a shot, and it didn't work out. And I lost a good friend over it, because I personally could not get over the fact that this person didn't want that, and I did. And, you know, that's fine for me as well as her. But you just got to know what's going on in your own brain. Like, you got to know what your expectations are. So you just have to channel the energy in efficient ways, because if you're on nose to grindstone and you're not getting the traction you want with the ladies, well, there's a reason for it. And be hypercritical. Look at yourself and say, am I doing everything I can to be, you know, desirable? Because at the end of the day, dude, we're all apes. We're all just apes. And even though it's a socially enlightened age where everyone should be treated fairly, and looks shouldn't matter as much, and everyone's valid for their own personal well-being, and everyone, you know, for lack of a better term, is supposed to get a prize. Not everyone gets a prize, especially in the dating pool, because we're all still apes, and it's all very natural. If I look at someone and I don't feel attracted to them, or if I go on a date with someone and I don't feel that, obviously it's been 4 years since I've been on a date, so this is all very backdated information. You know, if I'm going to take her to a Nickelback concert or something, you know, but if you're not bringing the heat, dude, then you're not going to get a lot of action. This is going to seem like, you know, and again, it's been a long time since I've been in the dating pool, and hopefully I never have to do it again. It's not a fun time, dude. Dating is like as an older person, or like even like, you know, and by older person, I mean like 25 to 35. You know, like adult dating is a waking nightmare. It's not fun. Because, like, when you're dating in the 25, I don't know how old you are, dude. But, like, everyone's got their own, like, for lack of a better term, baggage. And some of it's just normal baggage. Like, I had a bad relationship. I don't want to go down that again. So I'm very cautious. And sometimes people will be overly cautious and project things onto you. But you need to just... Dude, one of my best strategies that I ever came up with in dating was to be brutally honest with both myself and others. Because if you're not honest with yourself about whether or not you actually like someone, you'll put up with stuff too that you normally wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, you'll see past flaws because it's been a while since you got your wet if you're a dude. And if you're a lady, maybe you're looking for that special sweet guy who wants to treat you like a princess. You know, the people that don't actually exist. Because as people date and learn things that they don't like, they quickly start eliminating large portions of the population. Didn't hear that guy at all. Fair enough. So, you know, it's just... If you have enough going on in your own life, then you shouldn't... Like, dating will be like a mobile game that you play on the train. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was dating, or like before I met Moses' mom, I was online too, right? I was doing all the same things that most people do. So what I was doing was I was waking up, showering, you know, checking to see if I had any matches from the night before, since I swiped on literally everyone who exists. Discard the matches that I didn't like, and then I would, you know, send a couple of messages here and there, and then I would go play basketball for 6 hours. And then after that 6 hours, I would check my phone again and see if anyone responded. No responses, no problem. I'm exhausted from playing basketball. I'm gonna go get myself a nice pre or a post-workout meal, go watch some television, play a couple of video games, and go to sleep because I'm exhausted. What have I done in that scenario? Not a lot. I haven't really been super active in dating, but I am active enough that if something does crop up, at least I'll have... It's like fishing. It's like you set a lure, walk away and go drink some beer, have a good time, come back, check the lure. Any bait? Any bites today? No, that's okay. I'm gonna go chill for a while. The whole thing in there was that because of my job, obviously, and most people will be working in this situation, is I was doing something physical and engaging for 6 straight hours. So not 6 hours, you know, 4 hours or something like that. Enough time that I got a shitload of exercise. And by the time I was done, all I wanted to do was go home and shower. And by the time I was showered at 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then I'm hungry, make some food, 9 o'clock, watch an episode of TV, 10 o'clock, I'm tired. And then you go to bed. Is point to dating sex enjoyment or something above marriage? It depends on your motivations. Like, do you want to get married and have kids? That your operating thing? Then, well, yeah, but you know, that's like searching for full-time employment. A lot of interview processes to go through. If I had to go back into the dating pool right now, I would be single for the rest of my life. No doubt about it. Imagine my first date. Yeah, hey, well, nice to meet you. No, so good. Yeah, I'm super glad that you responded to one of my 46,000 messages. Oh, what do I do? Well, I am in media creation. Oh, what do you mean by media creation? Well, what I do is I make video game related content. So that means I sit at my computer for 6 to 8 hours a day, and I talk to people I don't know while playing a video game for their enjoyment and sometimes my enjoyment. Money. Oh yeah, no, money is pretty good. I actually make a pretty decent living. I don't really have any concerns there. Oh, why am I 320 pounds? Well, it's mainly because I don't move for long stretches of time, and I used photos from 6 years ago on my dating profile. Oh, you want to leave? Oh, okay. Well, that's good. Well, thanks for coming out. I'm about to re-enter the dating pool in my late 40s. Not sure if I'm excited or not. I think it's important to get out there, dude. The thing with guys is that if you're in your late 40s and you just start grinding the gym like nonstop, you'll be that like the silver fox. Oh my god. So this is a moderately personal story, but it's not personal in the ways you think. So a couple of years ago, I was in a situation where I had like really extreme anxiety. I'd started a new job. Is there no hall sets anymore? I started a new job that was really good, but that required a lot of travel. Now I had just seriously, like, our relationship, Moses' mom and I, or MP, had really started to get, you know, pretty intense. Like, I was falling in love with her, right? So I was in this weird position where I had a brand new job that I was really enjoying. That was probably the best job I ever had, and still to this day is probably one of the best jobs you could ever have. I'll explain that afterwards. But I also had this relationship that I was very excited about, and I started to get anxiety about losing it all. Now, I love my dad, and if he's watching, this is not a blame thing, but, you know, my dad was always very oriented on making sure that we were very aware of how things could go wrong and to prepare for it. But in his and he did his best. You know, he just did what he thought what was the best route to raise his kids. But that kind of, as I grew up, instilled this constant fear and preparation of things going wrong, which basically starts to make you think that something is always about to go wrong. And what does that sound like? Anxiety. So I had that, and I didn't know how to deal with it because it was getting worse and worse and worse, because I just felt this dread all the time, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And I was not one to be like, I need to go see a therapist. So I started, you know, being angry and brooding and being emotional and all the other stuff that goes along with anxiety. If you've ever dealt with it, then you know what it's like. So finally, MP was saying to me, hey, you know, you need to go talk to somebody. And you know what she did? God bless her heart. She went and she found a bunch of guys that she thought I would be really comfortable with. And one of them, his name was Caleb. Good dude. He's specifically for sports psychology. So she not only found me a psychologist, she found me a sports psychologist, because I was playing a lot of sports at the time and she felt that'd be a good crossover. Bless her heart. Anyways, I go and I see this guy, and goddamn it, Chad, if he's not the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my entire goddamn life. I'm talking like 45-ish, around, or early 40s, late 30s. Full, luscious head of hair. Okay? I'm bald at this stage, already threatened. And he is in, like, top shape. Like, he is shredded. You know those forearms of, like, dads that are in shape, that are just, you know, they've got that dad look to them, but they're also, like, rippled with muscle and veins and stuff like that. Very vascular dude. So I'm sitting in there as a person who is now out. I've stopped playing basketball at this stage for about a year, because I was working 2 jobs. And this beautiful, like, chiseled jaw, beautiful guy is sitting across from me. And I was like, how am I supposed to relate to this beautiful f***er? You know what I mean? Like, I told him what the issues were. Like, you know, I had no problem talking to the guy. And, you know, he helped me out. But halfway through the thing, I was like, dude, I am super worried that this relationship is just going to end, or something bad is going to happen. Like, someone's going to get cancer and die. Like, everything is going too well, and I do not have the tools to trust myself that this is going to be stable for long periods of time. And he's like, well, what's the worst that could happen? And I was like, well, you know, all the things I just said. Like, someone could get cancer and die. And he's like, yeah, but then what would happen? Would you just cease to function? And I was like, well, maybe. He's like, well, have you ever lost your job or had a relationship end before? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, what did you do? And I was like, well, I kind of just dealt with it and got over it. He's like, okay, so why wouldn't you be able to do that again? And I was like, oh, you're right. And my anxiety was instantly cured. That's all I'm seriously not joking. That's all it took. That is literally all it took for me to feel better, was him to be like, well, you've done it before. Why would you do it again? I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, furthermore, like, I personally have been through, you know, my share of, you know, I had relationships that I was really interested in and didn't work out. And I was like, who the f broke up with you? And he's like, and at this stage, I got a little selfish. I'm like, you know, dude, like, I'm not trying to, you know, make your problems minimal or anything like that. But you are a psychologist, like master's, PhD, fully educated. He went to a good school. Like I'm checking. I was so jealous of this guy that I'm like checking out all his credentials. I'm like, okay, he went to this really good school. You know, he's, you know, attractive. Obviously, I keep talking about how attractive he is. Chat. You might think it's a little gay. It's not gay. This guy was really hot. Okay. And I was like, how could it have possibly not gone that well for you? And he's like, well, you know, people see me and talk to me and they assume a lot. And I was like, how could someone assume something about you? As I sat there assuming a lot of things about him. Who doesn't take the 249, by the way? So I was like, because this guy's like seriously like a clinical psychologist. He's got his PhD. He's gorgeous. You know what he does as a freaking hobby? Ultra marathons. That's his hobby. And he's like, well, the reason it didn't work out is I'm addicted to working out and making myself as physically fit. And I spend a lot of time thinking about fitness. And honestly, fitness is the source of my anxiety because I fear death. And he's like, so everything you see right now is the result of my own anxiety. And I was like, what the f? Like, you know, of course I didn't think about that. Of course I didn't think about that. How am I supposed to assume that this guy who has apparently everything going for him, you know, he's a mindfulness master. He was teaching me about mindfulness. He's like, I practice this all day, every day. That's the only way I can keep a handle on it. Because like, you know, so I guess the long roundabout moral of this story is that if you're out in the dating pool and you're facing up rejection or this and that, it's not just about you. So you need to be able to look at yourself and say, have I done every possible thing to put myself in a good position mentally, physically, and whatever else to make myself a good candidate, because I'm going to be dealing with people with their own issues as well. So anyway, that was a really long story / talk that maybe some of you guys enjoyed, maybe some of you didn't. But anyway, that's the end of that. Please clip this, Moses. I have to be able to share this little story with some friends. It's amazing. Bro, you have the clip button as well. It is not an exclusive superpower. Everyone can use it. Damn. He stopped.
Come on, get serious.
Elaborate ruse to get another story time. I mean, it's just I mean, some stories are just that's some good shooting there. Here comes another guy. That guy was terrible. Whatever. It took me 40 bullets to kill that guy. Now I'm number one. Now I'm number one. You want to know what the greatest job ever was? Oh, it was the job I quit to stream. So my job was like a regional corporate security guy. I had 2 territories, Alberta and British Columbia, that I was responsible for loss prevention of like multiple big chain stores. So I was like a corporate support employee essentially. And basically I could work from home. My boss didn't care what I did or where I was or what I was doing, just as long as my work was done, which meant that I could do basically whatever I want. Oh, Beanie. Which meant that I could do whatever I wanted, which at that stage was getting my YouTube and Twitch channels off the ground. Playing basketball. Doing all these. Well, no, I'm talking about Shoppers. I wasn't playing basketball at Shoppers. I'd quit basketball because of Winners by then. But yeah, so like my boss was great. All my job was great. I had total autonomy to make my own schedule, do whatever I want. No one cared what I was doing. I most of the time I'd roll out of bed at 10 o'clock every morning. I was getting paid a really good wage. What are you saying?
Still do.
Yeah, well now it's allowed, but before, like, I was kind of like, you know, imagine if everyone I worked with knew what my schedule really was back then, they'd be like, this idiot right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was the good job. It was amazing, absolutely. It even had a bonus. So that was my job, and unfortunately, well, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on who you are, streaming and YouTube was just taking up so much time that I literally couldn't do both anymore. I had to make a choice. So I sold my truck that I wasn't going to use anymore, put a bunch of money in the bank, and gambled it on streaming. And that was a year and a half ago. More?
Yeah.
Almost 2 years. Everything's great. But I did it in a very calculated and specific way. I would never have taken a big risk. And
Yeah, it was. He had enough money to, you know, pay. Like if everything went south.
if I was making zero money, I had enough to live and pay bills for probably
Here.
maybe
almost.
a year and a half, maybe even longer.
And
So an alien has infested my girlfriend or my fiance's body. Everyone,
Come on, get
you
serious.
know how often she says we should order pizza? Never.
do you know the last time that I said let's order pizza was? It's
No.
when we ordered at Pizza Hut.
Get
Oh
serious.
my god. That was the. Oh no, I lost him. Hey, he's in the zone though.
Thank you, Ninja Maiku. You want to see the ring? You'll see it anyway.
Okay, it's all right. Just keep yelling. I think he killed the guy. Ooh, that was risky.
There's no Urufa.
Because you've got to leave your hand in the center of the frame and bring it away a little bit. There you go. Right about there. There you go.
I did it. I'm not pregnant. The tiny
Okay.
alien is.
There's 7 people alive. I'm going to try and win this game for Squash These Dogs, okay? Damn, I really need that guy's vest. I'm very afraid of snakes, holy moly. Oh, perfectly placed tree. We kept on running. Triangulating signals. Bloop, 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 bloop. Someone else is trying to blow that guy up. Jesus, I thought the freaking bush was a guy. He's throwing grenades at me. Damn, that guy got the zone. He's owning over there. Alright, I gotta wait over here, though. That's the guy in the shack, which is fine. Get the reboost. Maybe a snake plus the guy in the shack. Actually, he loses his shack here in a second. Yeah, he actually loses his shack. I want this rock. I just want him to have to come out and around the smoke. If he does come out. He put himself in a rough spot there. Whoa. What? GG's. GG's. Gaga! There we go.